Okay, I got asked on my text messaging platform this morning about vaccine passports. And usually people text me and I try and get back to them within a few days, if it's a parenting question or something like that. And if it's a medical question, I redirect them to their pediatrician. But this one really kind of triggered my thought process and what do I think about vaccine passports? And usually I use like a little sticky note thing. I've got it like positioned here, but I have a whole clipboard worth of discussion about this because it really just kind of made me think like what do vaccine passports do? Basically, the idea is that in order to move about wherever you want to go, you have to show your passport. If you want to go to a concert or a football game or on an airplane or something like that, then you have to show and provide documentation and proof that you have been vaccinated. And I think it's going to be a really pressing issue in the next few weeks because we're getting so much vaccine availability. And I'm getting texts on my phone all the time, from Twitter about vaccines available at this place, at Walmart or Hy-Vee or wherever. And people are like getting their vaccine and then they're wondering like, well, can I go back to normal things? And I've talked about that on other videos, like what should that look like as a vaccinated person or somebody that hasn't yet got the vaccine? We're going to be flush with vaccines within the next 2 months. And we're going to have open access to vaccines for anybody that wants one before summer. And I would love it. Comment yes below if you've already gotten yours or if you've got a plan, like I'm getting mine on this day because I already signed up or that sort of thing. But I know that people are getting access to them. And I get the idea of the vaccine passport, and I kind of molded around in my head when I got asked this morning. I really hadn't even considered it, and I've given it a lot of thought over the course of the day as to what does a vaccine passport mean? And I think I get the idea of a passport in that everybody feels safe, and you can feel the sense of safety of, I'm at the movie theater, I know that everyone else, showed their papers to get in, and so I can be safe and relax and all of those sorts of things. And you can move about safely, just like on the airplane when they, turn the fasten seatbelt sign off and you're allowed to get up and move about. Like once you have your vaccine and everybody else has their vaccine, it's safe to move about and do all the normal things that everyone else does. I mean, I think it does encourage people to get their vaccine if, in order to attend football game, movie theater, wherever it might be, concert, whatever it is, that you have your vaccine. Like that encourages that. I think it kind of coerces that into saying that, like, if you don't have this, then you can't participate in this part of culture or society or have access to this thing, which it might be the grocery store or a bank or something like that. I mean, that kind of concerns me. And certainly I've been quite pro COVID vaccine and pro masks and all of those things throughout the course of the pandemic. And you can look back at all the other videos that I've done over time and posts and information that I've tried to provide to like make people realize this is a real thing. This is scary. We should, do what we need to help and support each other. And so now as we're coming, hopefully in the coming weeks and months out of this, when we have vaccine available and not seeing more surges and everything like that, people do wonder, like, what should one be doing? Or do we need to have vaccine passports to show that we have been vaccinated, or, wear some sort of special sticker or, a pin on our shirt or something like that to indicate that we're vaccinated and safe to be in contact with? And I get that also it makes scientists that have spent a lot of time, like the last year, working around the clock to develop this vaccine and get it out to people, and healthcare workers and medical workers and essential workers, to show support for them by like, hey, I realize what you've been going through. I'm going to get my vaccine so everybody's safe and we can feel comfortable again. And all of those things are legitimate reasons to consider a vaccine passport as a way to ensure compliance with people getting vaccinated so that we can safely reopen. At the end of the day, though, I'm not in favor of a vaccine passport, and I have a lot of different reasons why. And if you have questions, comment below as we talk through this, because I would be curious about your thoughts, because this is totally my opinion. It's not representative of the American Academy of Pediatrics, where I'm a board certified pediatrician. It's not representative of my practice or my partners or others in the community, what they think. This is my personal opinion, and weighing the risks, benefits of everything that we try and weigh. We weigh the risks and benefits of masks. We weigh the risks and benefits of school closing. We weigh the risks and benefits of the vaccine. And I think those things have been weighed out, and the risks have been shown and the benefits have been shown, and those are all reasonable things to have done and continue to do as we need to, and as the benefits outweigh the risks. But if we talk about the risks and benefits of the vaccine, as we talk about the risks and benefits of vaccine passports, I think that the risks of a vaccine passport mandate outweigh the benefits. And there's a few reasons that I think that's the case. First and foremost, if you haven't been alive in 2020 and 21, then you might not know that it's a very divisive issue, this entire pandemic. And every component has caused division and fractured the peace and connectedness of our society in every way. And I think a vaccine passport does that in a very visible, tangible way. And it forces people to do something that they might not do in order to participate in society and to participate in the activities that give them, enjoyment and peace and prosperity and all the different things that we all value. And it leads to resentment. And if I am saying, well, I can't do these things that give me, joy, and I can't see the loved ones and can't connect with them in that way unless I get this vaccine, which is still, by the way, under an emergency use authorization, then I can't do those things. Well, I'm going to be really resentful when I get my vaccine, and that's going to make me not trust healthcare workers in the future and feel that I can't trust those that are in that position if I'm forced to get a vaccine. And it's going to cause more division, in my opinion. I think that instead of forcing and coercing people into doing something, whether it be wearing a mask or getting your vaccine or having, maintaining social distance or, all the normal things, wearing your seatbelt, things like that, that we should hear people, listen to people, understand where they're coming from, and then work to convince them of what we feel is best for them. As a healthcare professional, I never force people to do things that they don't want to do. I hear them, I hear their concerns, I share my experience, the medical expertise that I have, the experience in the field and with similar patients and those sorts of things, and I try and convince them with data and experience and empathy of what I think they should do. And then they choose themselves and have that personal autonomy to make that decision. And I think that is something that's valuable. I was on the ethics committee when I was in residency at the Children's Hospital, and we talked about autonomy and we talked about justice. And I don't think that mandating people to get the vaccine if they want to resume life is fair or promotes autonomy or justice or those sorts of things. It's coercing people to do something that they might not feel comfortable with, and it leads to division. The great news is we have a really effective vaccine. I mean, all the vaccines are over 80% effective in preventing severe disease and hospitalization, which is what we have been trying to prevent. And so I can feel comfortable having my vaccine and going to a movie theater. I can feel comfortable going to a football game or being in a crowded restaurant or something like that when I have my vaccine, because I have a reasonable certainty and the risks outweigh the benefits to doing those things because we have a really effective vaccine. When they were first talking about vaccines, we were talking about, is it going to be 50% effective? And now we have 80%, 90%, 100% effective vaccines at preventing serious illness, hospitalization, death, all those things. So if I choose to make the decision to get the vaccine, then I'm protecting myself. And if the person 3 tables over or in the next row at the football game has not made that choice, then that's a risk that they're taking, but it has very little, if any, effect on me as an individual and my likelihood of getting sick or getting seriously ill or hospitalized or anything like that. And so we can feel safe once we've gotten our jab and waited our weeks and whatnot, regardless of the choices of the other concert goers. And I think that is a reasonable thing. I think another issue that I see is people feel like it's Big Brother. Like, I have to do this, I have to turn over, I have to show my papers if I want to be allowed in this specific venue or thing or restaurant or whatever the place may be where they're checking my papers. And that doesn't feel right to me as an American citizen, as just a human, that I have to prove my worthiness, I have to prove my safety to go to those places. We've never done anything like that before, and it feels a lot like Big Brother. It feels a lot like Minority Report. It feels like things that people are not going to be comfortable with, and it's going to cause more resentment and more division if that's the case. And if you think masks are divisive, I mean, a little piece of cloth on your face is that divisive. Imagine having to carry a paper around and have somebody else essentially making that health decision for you on your behalf in order to get the vaccine. I mean, those are personal, ultra personal things that people make that decision about. We have a safe, effective vaccine. I can make my decision. Somebody else can make their decision, and we can both live in peace and harmony, or somebody can feel coerced and resentful or excluded. I don't think that the mental health of our country can take more division in that way. Another reason, I mean, I'm just kind of rattling on reasons. I got a list of them here. It would be a logistical nightmare. Like, all I have to prove at this point that I got the vaccine is a tiny little scrap of paper. And if I lose that, I don't honestly even know how I would, again, have that information to present to the authorities when I have to show my papers. And so, yes, Staples or wherever will laminate it for me, but it's still a tiny scrap of paper. And so, I don't think logistically it's very feasible. I mean, even if it was a QR code on my phone or something like that, or a little pin that I got, there's just not a logistical way to keep track of those things. I mean, we have enough trouble with school physicals and immunization records and all of those things, and those exist in multiple places, and we only have to get them every so often, when we're getting a new job or starting kindergarten or whatever it is, and there's already a hassle and factor with that's extraordinary. And the logistical nightmare, I can't even imagine what it would be like. And what if I get to the theater and I left my thing in my other jacket or whatever? Can I not see the performance then? Can I show them a picture of it? Is that worthwhile, or could it be Photoshopped? There's just so many logistical nightmares that go along with the idea of a vaccine passport. The biggest reason, though, that I want to share with you that I think that it is not the right move and doesn't promote justice and autonomy and all of the things that we talk about when we talk about ethics, is that it disenfranchises people that are unable to access the vaccine, and it disenfranchises those that have been disadvantaged and disenfranchised, I don't know if that's a word, in the past. And what we know is that people of color, minorities, underserved communities have had a much harder time with coronavirus in terms of hospitalizations, in terms of death. I mean, the numbers are there, and you can look them up to see that those that are people of color and people in rural communities and those that don't have the same access, or there's all the different issues that go along with that, including systemic racism, that they are less likely to be able to get access to the vaccine, even though it's everywhere. And there's certainly been stories about the different places in New York where you can get the vaccine, and places where everybody that has it wants it, and everybody can get tested all the time, and places where it's a vaccine desert. And so what we're doing is we're taking those people that are being held down, or that don't have the same opportunity or resources that others do, and again saying, you can't go to this concert, you can't go to church, you can't go to this restaurant, we're disenfranchising them further. And there's a lot of history and current bad things that we have done to minority groups, like vaccine trials and everything like that, where they have, for good reason, reluctance to just roll up their sleeve and get their vaccine because of the past atrocities that have been committed. And so to now say, if you want to go to a concert or church or a sports event or whatever it is, that you have to get this vaccine, well, there's a lot of systemic racism and poor treatment and the atrocities of Tuskegee. All of those things play a role in the decision to get a vaccine. But basically we're saying we don't care about all those things. If you want to go to this concert, if you want to go to a football game, you have to get the vaccine. And I don't think that that's fair or right or just or respectful or dignified or any of those things. People that have been disenfranchised in the past are appropriately reluctant to just roll up their sleeves and trust the medical system that has been failing them in the past century and has been failing them in 2020 and 2021. And so I don't blame them for being reluctant to do that. And I think that you can convince people and show people after you hear them that this is different and we respect what has been happening in the past and we will do better in the future and you can feel safe and comfortable with this because of this, this, and this, and here's the data that supports that. What do you think? Rather than roll up your sleeve or you're not getting in. This is probably one of my more impassioned videos. And like I said, it's much longer than any other video I've done because it made me really think and think hard about it. And I think that a vaccine passport causes division. It reduces autonomy. It's medically unnecessary to have a vaccine passport. I do think that getting the vaccine is in the best interest of people and that they can feel safe and comfortable back in society when they have the vaccine. But I think that some people will make the choice not to get it, and we can still reopen society. We can still take protective measures. We can protect those that are at risk with vaccine and know that we're doing everything that we can and we're respecting people and returning that normalcy and returning that dignity and joy that comes from reopening society. I don't know. I would love to know what you're thinking and comment below your thoughts and if this makes sense and what you think, because like I said, I don't represent other people when I'm sharing this opinion. This is what, from my reading and my understanding and from hearing from people, what they are experiencing. And there's a lot wrapped up in that idea of a vaccine passport. And there's a lot of historical papers showing and, markings on people and all of those things that we would be, in a way, bringing back. And those were horrible things. And I don't think that we should do that. And I don't think that we need to do that to return to normalcy in the coming months, as everyone that wants a vaccine can get one. And then you can just make that personal choice for yourself and for your family and for your loved ones. And we'll get there with kids. Kids are at low risk for severe disease as well. There's vaccine studies coming out about the safety and efficacy in kids. We'll get there. But I don't think that we have to wait for kids to reopen and return to a very much closer to normal place. And so we can wait on the kids and we can still do the things that we can do, especially as we enter spring and summer and fall where it's warm outside and we can get back outside and enjoy those times together, get schools reopened. All of those things can be possible without a vaccine passport and without having kids vaccinated yet. Those are all things. So I don't know. Sorry for this rant. I hope it's been helpful. I hope it hasn't been offensive. I hope it's made you stop and think too. Because I think it's really something that we as a society have to grapple with, and we're going to have to figure out and make that decision. And it's going to be really soon that we have to make that decision, because we're going to have vaccine available for everyone really soon, which is so exciting. And I'm so optimistic about that it's great. We're at the very middle of the end right now. And so I have a lot of hope, but I don't think that causing more division through a vaccine passport is the right approach at this kind of pivotal moment to get everybody on board.